Hey marketing friends, Andrew Walton, the creator of the 27X method and founder of Crushing Conversion here, and in this video I want to address the number one reason that I believe most businesses fail. And I would like to do this by showing you some examples in a specific niche, the hot water repair niche in Sydney, Australia. What I have done is I've taken the top 7 ads in on this page, open them up, and I'm going to walk you through why each one of these businesses is likely, at best, drastically underperforming, and at worst, probably losing so much money that I can't imagine that they will continue to be in business, at least if their main channel of getting that business is this online advertising. And that really is the main reason that most businesses fail. Doing marketing that doesn't work and continuing to do marketing that doesn't work. So let's take a look. So the first page. Well, actually, first let's look at who I am as an audience member and why this should be a very easy sell. Hot water repair is something that is urgent and it's important. No one is going to shop around for a month to get their hot water heater repaired. If you don't have hot water, you want to get that back as soon as possible in almost any circumstances. So the buying intent is there, the urgent need is there, and there's not going to be even a lot of price resistance. You want to get this problem solved. So these should be easy sales to make. And I want to show you what I see time and time again in industry after industry is that even looking at the top performers or top advertisers on a page like this, they're not doing a very good job of their marketing. So here we see that, okay, the headline is hot water, which is not at all related to my search query and doesn't give me any indication of whether or not I'm in the right place. And the copy immediately goes into installing, servicing, and repairing hot water for over 20 years. Okay, this does not give me any indication. It doesn't talk about my problem. It doesn't talk about how they're going to solve it or anything like this. And actually, as you scroll down the page, this looks far more like they're interested in installing hot water systems than repairing them. So this page would lose me at the end of the first sentence here, probably at best, if I was looking for a solution. Now, the next page does quite a bit better job here. The headline, while this I think is a mistake in that it distracts from this main headline here, which is actually super relevant. No hot water, burst tank, emergency. Yes, if I'm searching for this, this is the exact sort of headline I want to see that shows me I'm in the right place. These people are going to could potentially help me solve my problem. Great, we repair and replace all hot water systems 24/7, which is a little bit of a strange way to word this, but okay, if they work around the clock, wonderful. I would improve this by putting the same-day service element in here probably versus the 24/7 bit, but this is something that you could test, and overall this isn't bad. In fact, compared to the other pages, the other companies advertising here, I would expect that this company, if someone cares to comparison shop for 5 minutes, this company would get near 100% of the business because their messaging is actually relevant to the audience. Same day service, you can get the quote up front, solve the problem quickly, and then going into a lot of proof. If you follow me and follow my profit acceleration methodology, well then you know how much I love proof. And the fact that they work with all brands. So really addressing all the objections. The only problem with this page is the design is a little bit outdated, but if I have an urgent problem, I do not care about the design. All I care about is getting that problem solved. So I would be calling right now or getting my free quote. Okay, so that's a really quick overview, I suppose, of the best page and all the things that you probably should do if you wanted to succeed in this space, at least more or less. Again, there are lots of ways that you could improve this, but it's good enough to be at the very least viable, which is a lot more than a lot of businesses can say, unfortunately. Let's move on to our third candidate, and this disaster where I land on the page and there is no text to indicate why I should be here. And if we're talking about hot water repair, the imagery is also completely off. So yes, granted, okay, I understand that it's a plumber, but if you compare this page to this page, and the fact that most people are going to make a decision about a website within the first couple seconds, and it's going to be subconscious. It's not going to be based on them scrolling around and doing a logical assessment of all the items on the page, then this, I think, is another, just like the first website we looked at, this is another ad that is simply throwing money down the drain. And that's not meant to be ironic, it's just simple fact. So as we sort of saw in the first example, if you look at this, this is not at all relevant to my interests as a searcher, and that's another big no-no and another reason that I would be leaving this page within 15 seconds or so, at best, if I even scrolled down this far. So let's move to number 4. Okay, the first issue here, relevance. If I'm searching for hot water repair. I'm clicking on an ad, meaning I'm looking specifically for hot water to repair my hot water system. And okay, so this might be relevant. It's not clear that this is for hot water, but the other elements scrolling through here, let's see if it'll actually scroll for us. There we go, block drains, etc. So they don't get to the hot water systems repaired until far below the scroll, and they've made a classic mistake of combining these two different ideas. If I want a hot water system repaired, then I don't care about installation. And likewise, if I want installation, I don't care about repairs. So these two ideas should be turned into separate landing pages because they're targeting separate audiences. And it's obvious in hindsight, but I see this mistake so often that it's worth discussing. And I want to, because I want this to be as instructional as possible, let's talk about the copy a little bit. So it's good that they're trying to discuss the problem and why the problem is important, but if my hot water system is repaired, I don't need you to tell me that a hot water system plays an integral role in my everyday life. This is not in line with my belief system. This isn't something that I think about every day. And when I say I mean this audience that I'm pretending to be a part of for the sake of this video. If I'm looking for hot water repair, this sounds sort of cheesy. It sounds sort of, it's not exactly condescending, but this sort of, it's obviously not relevant to my actual mental or emotional state, right? Yeah, hot water system breaking down would be a significant inconvenience. And let's just go back here to compare this. No hot water, burst tank, emergency. Again, not super sexy. You could improve this, but this gets right to the point and right to my problem. And when you compare these side by side, no hot water versus hot water systems play an integral role in our everyday lives, and their breakdown could result in significant inconvenience. Well, I'm sorry, but this website is also, this offer is also not going to be taken up. So we can scratch this one off, and anyone who has searched for this keyword phrase and again is doing comparison shopping, they're coming back over here. So that's all I'm going to say about that. No one is even going to make it down to the bottom of this page, almost certainly. Because up here, you've already lost a sale. And that's another important thing. Maybe there are, like, okay, maybe this is important information, but I'm not going to spend time reading that, and I'm simply making a video about this. If I'm a buyer, I'm definitely not going to, or a potential buyer, I'm not going to waste time on that sort of stuff. Let's go to the next one, number 5. Okay, what can I say about this? This is a complete disaster. This is just a wall of text that I don't want to read. A completely self-serving headline, has nothing to do with me or the pain that I'm experiencing. The 2 columns don't make it clear to me where exactly I should look. Hot water systems doesn't help. Gas fitting isn't solving my problem. I would leave this page. I wouldn't even read, honestly, any of the text in here if I was a user. And based on the data, the copious number of what are they called, user sessions that I've had experience looking at, I expect that 80-90% of the audience would leave this as soon as they came. Does not solve the problem. Let's keep going. Okay, I love this. This is another classic mistake, trying to be too cute with your marketing and not getting to the point. I have to go back to this example because as much as it is average, it's so much better because this, again, it just gets right to the point, right to my pain points. Expert plumber, quality services. This is self-serving. It is not in any shape, way, or form benefiting me. A key point that I want to point out is that saying something like quality services is a completely empty statement. Empty statements are statements that no other plumber, no other person in your industry is going to take the opposite position to. No one is going to say, we don't have quality services. Therefore, saying quality services, at best, gets you a tie with everybody else in the industry, the best and the worst. And at worst, and I think usually it is a worst case scenario, it sounds generic. It undermines any advantages that you actually would have because you are only as good as the worst bit of material that you share with your audience. Like, they've done studies of hotels, for example, and if a hotel lists that they have, it's a 5-star hotel with a 5-star restaurant and a 5-star gym, for example, people will pay more for that hotel and rate it more highly than the same listing, but we also have a 3-star pool. That 3-star pool, even though it's more stuff, actually decreases the perceived value of service. And this is true this is just a part of human nature. It has nothing to do with the hotel industry. So when you say quality services, a generic bargain basement, bottom of the barrel statement, it completely undermines all of the positive marketing messages that you might be creating. Likewise, this headline is a little bit too fancy, and this is difficult to read. And again, it's too broad. It's not at all specific to the query that I had. Cardinal sin, another one. So again, I want this to be as instructive as possible. So let's dive into this a little bit and unpack this copy, because this is another thing that I see quite often. When a business or business owner, entrepreneur doesn't have a clear idea of what they actually should be talking about, they just sort of throw it all up against the wall and hope that one sentence or 2 sentences will stick out to the prospect and that will get them to buy. It doesn't really work like that. For example, here, the first sentence talks about the problem. The second sentence talks about the company. These 2 sentences don't relate to one another. This sentence would be a better follow-up to the first sentence, though I think that it's a little bit cliche and not interesting. And something like this, to me, sounds desperate at this point. Let's do this, let us do that, we will do this, we will do anything, please, we want your business, we are so desperate for your business that we will do any and all of these things. And really, I don't mean to be disparaging by any of this. It's probably a great company, they probably do excellent work, but as is often the case, the quality of the work that you do and the quality of the marketing that you do are often drastically different. And unfortunately, for better or for worse, it's the quality of the marketing that you do that affects how much business you actually get to have most of the time. So in conclusion, this page really completely lacks strategy. It's just throwing things up against the wall, why we're great, all the different things we do. It's not organized, it's not strategic, it doesn't have, this is another thing that I often tell people, landing page, the golden rule of a landing page is having one offer to one audience with one big value proposition. And this page has so many problems with that golden rule that, again, this would be a little X in the browser and on to the next site. Okay, so here's another disaster waiting to happen. So first of all, cute marketing, something that I highly, highly rally against. You don't need to. This does not imply a benefit that I'm going to get. It's an effort perhaps to be funny or clever that's at best self-serving, again at worst undermining the actual value that you provide. It's not clear what I should be focusing on here, and there's no value on this page. The testimonials don't help because I don't know what this page is for. There's no headline to discuss it. This isn't even worth discussing. I'd be clicking the X and going back to our clear winner here with mediocre marketing. The only thing that you have to do to be the best out of these 7 pages is to have accurately assessed what the problem is and expressed it in the headline. None of the other 6 pages even got as far as no hot water ? In those 3 words, this one site beat out its 6 top competitors in terms of advertising with Google PPC, which is sad on one hand, but amazing on the other hand when you think about it, because this is not an isolated incident. I didn't cherry pick this niche. This was a random. I'm actually surprised that there was even one that had a headline that was this effective. I picked a niche at random just to show you how, in general, the marketing that businesses do so powerfully and drastically underperforms that simply by making one simple change and getting one simple thing right, you can leapfrog so much of your competition that it is almost comical by following some exceptionally simple formulas, such as talking about the problem and showing proof that you can solve the problem and addressing a main objection. Will you serve, in this case, will you be able to service my particular brand of hot water tank? Simple stuff like this is often all that you need to do superior marketing to your competition. Is there more? Yes, there's much more. There are a ton of things we could do to improve this landing page and improve the conversion rate here. But wherever you are, whatever industry you're in, when you stop making these very simple marketing mistakes, the likes of which we've seen over the course of the last 15 minutes or so, your business will grow. It's not always about having some fancy new traffic source or fancy new marketing tactic or anything like this. Simply by not making the mistakes that we looked at across all these other sites with the self-serving headlines, with the body copy that was all about why we're great instead of why we can solve your problem and how we do it, instead of making it immediately obvious exactly what you're going to do for me when I land on your page. So I don't have to look around and see, oh, maybe this is for me or maybe it's not. If you can do those simple things, your marketing will improve and your business will grow. And yes, eventually, when you get to a high level of this and it's refined and it's working well, then you're going to have higher level questions like, does no hot water outperform emergency or burst tank or something like this? Minute changes in copy, minute changes in strategy to drive further growth. But if you're at that stage, you're already in the top 1-2%, and you should be looking forward to having that problem. In all likelihood, you're not at that stage yet, and what you should be looking for are the mistakes that you're making on pages like this that are reducing your conversion rate and therefore wasting your ad budget or decreasing the amount of inquiries that you get. And think of it this way. We've just looked at 7 pages. There's a clear winner out of these 7. Now, I can't say for sure how the actual market behaves in this scenario. I don't have that data, but I have a strong suspicion that out of these 7 pages, this one probably gets 80% of the business. Now, if you're the second place player and you're fighting with the other 6 pages here for that 20%, plus all the people who may have gone to an organic result because the ads weren't working, one of these other ones, if we consider, again, that second place business, the business with the second most customers or the second best landing page, if you were to simply improve your headline, you might literally double or triple the amount of people calling you overnight. It might be even more than that. I can't say for sure, but just looking at this and look how easy it would be to come up with something similar. I wouldn't say don't copy this, that's not appropriate, but the strategic elements here, proof, again, showing the companies you work with, addressing the problem immediately, showing the main benefit, expert same-day service. This is, say, the main value proposition. You could have all of these elements in place within an hour and double or triple the effectiveness of your ad campaign, if not more. This would create a positive feedback loop. As your campaign starts to improve and you start to get more leads from this page, you're going to be able to invest more in advertising. You're going to be able to branch out to other advertising channels. So making these simple changes, like simply fixing your headline, could, over time, based on the compound growth that you get out of it, be worth far more than 2 or 3x. It could be 10x, 20x, 30x. Of course, over time and with iterative improvements to the page and to the system. But none of this is difficult. That's the thing that I want to impress upon you. Nothing on this page is rocket science. It's simply addressing the exact query that I put in search before coming to the page, showing people that I'm in the right place and that you can solve my problem, that you understand what the problem is, that I don't have hot water. So now my question for you is, did you find this 7-page side-by-side comparison valuable? Did you find this analysis valuable? What did you learn and what will you be able to take away and implement in your own business? I've never done such a large-scale side-by-side single industry comparison before, so it would be very valuable to me to get your opinion on this and whether I should do more of this or whether I should stick to the one-page breakdowns that I often do and provide more in-depth analysis on copy points and specific points within a single page. So let me know if you'd like even to go deeper into this industry. I spent more than 20 minutes talking about these 7 pages, but it would be possible to probably do like an hour-long masterclass or something like this in this industry and really break down what are the pain points, what are the benefits, what should you say in order to make these campaigns work better. If that would be interesting to you, or if you have any other feedback, I'd love to hear it. Let me know below this video what you think, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.